Black lives finally mattering does not mean white lives matter less all of a sudden. Opening opportunities to ethnic minorities does not mean less opportunities to other demographics. No, it doesn't. Things are as they should be when the best person is picked based on their skills, not color, not ones written off before the race is even starting. It's time for Britain to grow up and become a real parent to its black people. If we see governments as parents, if we see ourselves as parents, what we do with our children at home, then governments are parents to its citizens. And it's time for the British government to start being a parent to its citizens, especially its black citizens. The UK has behaved in a way no parent should or would behave. We as parents nurture, guide, invest in our children whenever they show an interest in something. We encourage them. We show them we are interested in their progression and ultimately their success. The UK has picked and chosen which of its children it parents, period. This is why we have decided that if the UK isn't willing to put its hand in its pockets and look after its children, then we will force it to do so. This is why we are calling for the reallocation of funds. It's important I bring this up today because I keep hearing defunding the police and defunding that and the other. We're talking about reallocation of funds from defense, from police, and put into our communities. Talent that if we only fix this sickness of systemic denial of opportunity from top down, we as a nation would lead the world in many a field, from science, inventions, to elite sports like golf, tennis, motor racing, and horse racing, which have systemically kept us out. However, do not fail to notice how we do always end up dominating these fields whenever one of us manages to sneak through. We still dominate it, okay? In reallocating funds, we mean taking funding from less policed areas to fund projects like community drop-in centres where IT, music production and things like access to journalism tools are readily available for all young people across deprived areas. We would look to ask for high-spec sports complexes where our potentials where we can explore our potentials to the fullest with no financial constraints, just like their privileged peers. Complexes where all forms of sports are nurtured, accessible to all children, so they need to be dotted around the country. Those funds will also go to providing equipment, transportation, and all for all, as we never know where talent lies. We're asking for youth office spaces around the poorest neighborhoods, spaces where children can go do their homework in peace, have stuff printed out, access to scanners, access to modern computers, and have access to the best advice, guidance another child might have at home, but many of our children do not. Community business spaces for floating business ideas, where ideas can be nurtured and supported, and if needed, be funded through related programs set up by reallocated funds. Open up specialized sports academies. Open them up to many golfing, tennis, show jumping and horse riding academies to find that next British champion from wherever that future champ is in the country or whatever colour or race they might be. We can only become richer as a nation if we leave no potential talent behind. There's a saying amongst black Americans that go, I love my country, but my country does not love me back. Many British blacks feel the same way and really have given up seeking that parents' love back, resigned that it will never be. The very first human to die for the United States of America after the country was formed was a black person. This nation, and yet, gets so little, sorry, so I beg your pardon, let me say that again. That's why I hate reading from scripts. This nation, and yet gets so little back. When we bleed, we're told to shut up and keep moving. It's time for Britain not to be just a good parent, but a great parent, and the one that on the other side to mum and dad, as in mum and dad on one side and the government on the other side. To the millennials of this country, I say thank you. You've carried this fight to the government, and you will end up seeing it through. I have no doubt. You truly were the wrong generation to mess with. We know that laws is what it takes to solve this situation. Boris knows that laws is what it takes to solve this situation. Need a bit of drink? Boris woke up the day after the marches and pledged to sentence anybody who defaces the statute to 10 years in prison. But yet, he seems not to have a solution for the problems we're going through. Now, one of the things we would like to introduce, someone's calling on my phone. One of the things we would like to talk about today is the Race Offenders Register. The Race Offenders Register, speak a little bit about it. It's a tool such as the Sex Offenders Register. And the way it will work is you have your problems on the bus with maybe a racist individual, tells you to go back to where you came from. You have a problem in the park like we are today. You know the Karens and the stories of the Karens, as we know. This is a situation, this is a law that when it comes in off the back of redefining racism to start with. Because the way racism is defined at the moment, that's not our definition of racism. If we do not define racism the way we define racism, then this is a law that can be turned against us, my friends. So it is all about redefining racism. Once we've redefined racism, the law can then sit on top of that definition, which means you cannot be racist if you're black. And this law cannot be turned against you. However, if you fail to change your attitude, you fail to change your behavior, your racist behavior, and you're filmed on a video like we do today, you take that to the police, a due process kicks in, just like any other charge. So you're taken to court, and what happens is, on the first conviction, you are warned. On the second conviction, you get another warning, and on the third conviction of a racist crime, you will then go on that Race Offenders Register. We hope the Race Offenders Register will have as much, if not more, bite than the Sex Offenders Register. This is a tool to change behavior. This is not a tool to go after racist people. It's a tool to help them change their behavior, so that in time and in the long run, we can get rid of that everyday racism that we see up and down the country. Now, I want to talk about my black community. As a black community, we're very disunited. And for this fight to succeed, I mean, I still have people talking about this isn't going to happen, nothing's going to change, we've seen this all before. I get that. It's easy to think that. However, thinking that at this time, I believe you're on the wrong side of history. Because I haven't seen so many people awake. I haven't seen so many white allies involved in our fight as we have today. I haven't seen so many countries engaged in this situation. And that goes for countries where they're all white, where there is very little racism. They are still engaged. This is a different time. In my opinion, this is a totally different time. And it takes unity from the black community to stand together to make this fight a victorious one. And this is very, very key. And then I'm going to speak to fathers and mothers about breaking up families. I myself have been guilty of that. And I would like to say I'm sorry to any one of my family members whose future I've caused pain to, or we need to go back and make apologies, is what I'm saying, my people. We need to go back and repair damages that we've done in the past as fathers, as mothers, as brothers and sisters. I am not currently speaking to a couple of my siblings. And that's the sort of situation we have in the black community. We need to come together, because once we're together, we're singing from the same hymn page. And you know what else? They recognize we're together. Because don't get it confused. They know we're disunited. They know how disunited not just we are as people, but as countries, as black countries against other black nations. We're disunited in that form, and we're also disunited individually within ourselves. So what I'd like to say, guys, keep supporting the Million People March. As of tomorrow, we're going to become a movement a pressure group that allies with other pressure groups. We're independent in that sort of way. That's the difference between what myself, Sasha and Ken has put together, because there is Black Lives Matter, there is All Black Lives, there is a Free Yemen, there is all of these other facets of change that people are fighting for. What we've done as a team is say, look, this is a platform, let's come together and speak as one. Let's act as a pressure group to challenge the government on what you're asking for, what they're asking for in Wolverhampton, what they're asking for in Leeds, what we're asking for in London, what Haringey is asking for, what Brixton's asking for. We speak for everybody. And that, look out for the Million People movement, because that's what we will be doing. It's speaking for everybody, getting ourselves on platforms, getting ourselves on those tables where decisions are made, where laws are made. But let me leave you with this one thing, guys, which is really, really important. Don't let no one tell you that this can't be changed. I've seen things change. Yes, we expected that. I'd say probably about 4,000 or 5,000 people today. We probably got 1,000 people. That's great. That's the first one. We came out and we spoke. We came out and we spoke. We said, spend a Sunday doing something positive, and we will spend many more Sundays fighting for the same positive cause until we win. Thank you very much, everybody.